I'm so glad you had that bottle too. Glad you made it here.
Because you had no brakes.
I'm so glad you had that bottle too. Because even me just moving it up.
What's up, Jeremy?
Because even me just moving it up.
What's up, Jeremy?
Hello, my
How
friend.
you doing?
Good to see you.
Pretty scary. The kid let me do it 100,000. But because he looked it over, he actually see that right across the street. So what you see right there is normal, regular customer pay type of stuff. I called in your service contract. Your left front rear tie rod is approved for the front end of the line.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Bailey. Thank you, though.
That is 100% covered. I called in this, your tensioner, because it is part of the motor. That is something that they will cover on there. So they will cover that tensioner, that part, and the labor to do that, okay? So that is approved. Your claim is approved. I have a claim amount approved for almost $13,000 worth of work to do on the car. Oh, I'm sorry, 1,300, 1,300. Yeah, that's like a used pilot price. The labor time would obviously overlap in there to do that job since.
Casey Egan, who was one of the men who act as Prince William. He is also known as Darren Labonte. And Darren Labonte was written about in a Connecticut newspaper, which wrote that he was a member of the CIA. And he was sent over to fight in the Middle East. And the terrorists blew him up. They sent a car with a bomb in it, I believe, and blew him up in the Middle East. So this is all a made-up story here. Darren Labonte, I met at Brookfield High School. I think he was class of 1991 or 1992. So he is also known as Richard Patrick, who is the lead singer of the band Filter, of the rock group Filter. I also recognized him as the actor named Mark Duplass. He was in a movie called Creep. And the movie Creep is something like an imitation snuff film. So if you look at the actor Mark Duplass, you may notice that he appears to have autism. If that does not stand out to you, take a good look at the photographs that I used in this video of Mark Duplass, because Casey Egan, also known as Prince William No. 10, also known as actor Mark Duplass, is mildly mentally retarded, and he probably has autism and schizophrenia. If you look at Mark Duplass's eyes, you could see that he has mild mental retardation. This is how these agents begin to look when they are disconnected from regular people. So Mark Duplass was recognized in this movie called Creep, where he acted as a serial killer. So of course, he had to go into the role of a serial killer. So it's very interesting that he started to resemble someone more like himself, who is mildly mentally retarded, has autism and schizophrenia. Whenever they go in front of the camera, whenever they appear in movies, what they do is they use the radio frequency technology of the MK Ultra program. to connect them to regular people who they imitate and then transform into. And you could first notice the look in their eye changes. There is a change in their eyes. That is why it's often hard to recognize them, because they are turning into a regular citizen. This is the case when they act as Prince William. This Prince William look that they are imitating comes from a regular person, most likely in Europe, maybe in England, maybe in Germany, but they are connecting to this person and they are imitating him to appear more normal. When they turn these people off, when they turn off these radio frequency oscillators called gyrotrons, they will begin to turn back into their normal selves, and you will see the look in their eye change. Their eyes will get more dull. They'll often get a blank look in their eyes. They'll often get a stupid look in their eyes. Everybody knows how mentally retarded people look. They do not look sharp. They do not look alert. This is how these agents appear, as their normal selves, as their base personalities. So Mark Duplass was recognized in this movie called Creep, where he acted as a serial killer. So of course, he had to go into the role of a serial killer. So it's very interesting that he started to resemble someone more like himself, who is mildly mentally retarded, has autism and schizophrenia. These members of the royal family are all inbred, and when these families practice incest, they produce children who are mildly mentally retarded. Some of their children are being born with severe mental retardation, but you are not going to see those family members. You are not going to see those agents in movies or the public eye too often. So the people who I am exposing in this series are their favorite agents. They are all related. They are related to the royal family. They come from the most wealthy families in Europe. They come from the most wealthy family in Europe. They use hundreds of different names. They don't want to be identified as these older names that people can recognize as being magnates or tycoons, like the Rockefellers or the Rothschilds. So these are their favorite agents, and they pride themselves on their ability to transform into regular people. But without the MK Ultra program, they will regress back to what they are. And you will begin to see that. So I first met this agent named Casey Egan in White Plains, New York. He was the older brother of Brendan Egan. Both Brendan and Casey Egan went to the same elementary school that I went to. It was a Catholic elementary school called Our Lady of Sorrows. In White Plains, New York, they lived in my same neighborhood. They lived 2 houses over.
Have we seen the vehicle here for service?
Yeah, a bunch of times. My last name is Harwood, Harwood.
There you are. I got you. All right, John. So that'll be here tomorrow.
Great, cool.
Should be all set by like 9:30, something like that.
All right, so I should pay you now?
Yep, I'll get an invoice for you.
All right.
in need of your services. Thank you. Bye. Cashier went home sick, so I got to call the office every time. So
What's that?
Our cashier went home sick, so I got to call into the office to get some
Okay.
help. So the round desk out at the showroom,
Okay, great.
Greg will be out there. He'll take care of you.
All right, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Tyler, huh?
Yep.
All right, Tyler, thanks a lot.
Take care.
I first met Brendan Egan when I was, 7 years old in White Plains, New York. So Brendan Egan is a stalker. He stalks me. And he moves into whatever area I may move to. And they tell him to model himself after me. So this is one of my clones. Him and his older brother, Casey Egan, are some of my clones that spend their life modeling themselves after me to later impersonate me. When I'm connected to him and I'm trying to read something, I always know that it's him. He doesn't know how to read. Words don't make sense to him. So in order for this agent to be a professional actor in all these Hollywood movies, and he cannot read, how do you think they get Brendan Egan to memorize scripts? They have to connect a series of handlers to him that will read the lines through him. They speak through him. This is what they prefer, little robots that they can control to do anything. He is completely illiterate. He doesn't know how to read. Words don't make sense to him. He is hyperactive and he is out of control, and he will scream all day long, going into animalistic fits of rage. If it hadn't been for the MK Ultra program connecting handlers to him that babysit him every day, he would have been full-on mentally retarded. He is a mentally retarded person. He has high levels of Neanderthal DNA. That means he has high levels of chimpanzee DNA. So he is very tiny. I'm not into bashing dwarfs, but that is a sign. Dwarfism and mild dwarfism is a sign of being a Neanderthal. It is also a genetic disorder acquired by people who are born through incest, and they will scream whenever induced to do so. So they are out of control. So I believe that they are used in snuff films. That is the only interest of these inbreds with high levels of Neanderthal DNA that are from the most wealthy families in the world. That is the only thing that they are interested in doing. When I was younger, Brendan Egan came over one day and he knew of a garage sale that was happening at my next door neighbor's house. And her name was Nina Voss. And Nina Voss was married to a guy named Richard Voss. And they had a niece named Alicia. And I do not know Alicia's last name. So my mother was friends with Nina Voss. And her being our next door neighbor, you would think that we would have been made aware that there was a garage sale happening next door. But we weren't. My mother did not say, hey, Nina's having a garage sale. Nina Voss is having a garage sale. Let's go next door and check it out. So Brendan Egan walked over into my yard, and he suggested that we go next door to Nina Voss's house, who was having a garage sale. So somehow he knew that there was a garage sale happening. So he walked next door, and Nina Voss was acting unusual. She was usually a very friendly person. She seemed to be talkative, usually. So that day she was acting creepy. She was sitting in her garage with Alicia, and they looked furious. Nina Voss was glaring, and they had tables set up in their garage. And Brendan Egan walked right over to this doll, and it must have been like 2 feet tall. It was as big as a 2 or 3 year old kid. It was a doll of Donald Duck. And Brendan Egan says, "I want this. How much for this?" And I think she said it was a dime or a quarter. And Brendan had change. He had money, and he gave her a quarter or whatever she wanted for that doll. And she was glaring at us. And she did not say anything. She did not try to make conversation. She did not ask how I was doing. She did not ask where my mother was. She just sat there and glared at me that day. And her niece Alicia was sitting right next to her, and her niece Alicia was also quiet. So as soon as Brendan Egan got the doll out to the road, he begins to pick it up and smash it onto the street while making these out of control screaming noises like he was enraged or out of control. As soon as he walked out of the garage, down the driveway, and got a little ways down the street, he began to take the doll by its legs and smash its head against the street while screaming. So he was walking in front of me as if he kind of forgot that I was there. He kind of went into his own little world. And so I followed him, and he went into his yard, and I stood in this lot that was between the two houses. And he went and he got a rope, something like a jump rope, or maybe just regular rope out of his dad's garage. And he ties the doll up, and he begins swinging the doll around and hitting it against a tree. And after he got tired of that, I think that he tied the doll against the tree, and he began to throw rocks at the doll. He began to throw dirt and rocks at the doll that was tied to a tree with a rope. So at this time, Brendan Egan was around 7 or 8 years old. I think that he was 2 or 3 years younger than I was. So he was a very violent kid with some strange ideas. And the whole thing suggested a program or a setup where he was given a child-sized doll that he began to attack, tied to a tree, and then throw rocks at. Other than that, Brendan Egan would act feminine. He always wanted to act like a female. He was one of the first kids that I met when we moved to White Plains. I think he and his mother walked across that lot and introduced themselves soon after we moved in. And so my mother said, "Why doesn't Brendan come over to play?" So Brendan would act like a girl. So it was obvious that the kid had homosexual tendencies at a young age. And I remember at one point my mother walked into the room when Brendan was saying, "I want to be a girl and I want to play some sort of game where we line up the stuffed animals and those are the kids and Brendan is the mom and I'll be the dad." And my mother walked in and said, "Brendan, you should want to be a boy. You shouldn't want to be a girl. Why don't you play something else and you could be a boy?" And Brendan kind of stared down at the floor when she said this to him. And then she walked out of the room. And Brendan turned to me and said, "Fine, I want to be the baby then. You be the dad and I'll be your baby." So my mother said, "Do not have that kid come back over. Do not invite him over anymore because there's something wrong with Brendan. Kids around your age should not want to act like they're girls or babies." So this suggested homosexual tendencies at a young age.
thrive.
The world actually thrives as a result. Because of Jen Marshall and her extraordinary leadership.
Because of Jen Marshall and her extraordinary leadership, NHDI is thriving and our hive is growing, and make no mistake, she is the queen bee.
So when children or young people are like this, what it suggests is multi-personality disorder. I think there used to be a disorder called sexual identity disorder. But these days, the gay community, they are trying to say that any of that is homophobic or anti-gay. But the truth is that when people are confused about their sex, that is a sign that they are a victim of mind control, MK Ultra mind control, and sexual abuse, where older pedophiles that are men will molest young boys, and older pedophiles who are women will molest young girls, and they are programmed to be gay because that is a desired trait of the MK Ultra program. And that's the same in secret societies. They want the sexes divided into sororities and fraternities. In the Roman Catholic Church, they want the sexes divided. They don't want their priests to marry the nuns. They don't want their priests or their nuns to get married. They want the sexes divided. And you hear about all of the sexual abuse that is rampant through the Roman Catholic Church. And in the military, of course, they want to divide the sexes. Some of you may say that's obvious. We can't have the men showering with the women. But keep in mind that those who do very well in the military do not mind being grouped off with the men. They don't want to serve their country and then go on to do something else. They don't want to go find a wife and get married and start a real life. They do not mind life in a military. They do not mind being surrounded by the same sex. So you have slogans like do not ask, do not tell if someone is gay in the military. If you see someone acting effeminate, if you see someone acting homosexual in the military, do not ask them if they're gay. And if you are gay, do not tell anybody that you are gay. That is the slogan in the military because there are so many homosexuals in the military. And the military is in control of the MK Ultra mind control program that instills in people different personalities. They basically want schizophrenics that could act as any number of roles. They want them to change personalities and act as any number of roles. And that includes acting as the opposite sex. So if you study a majority of the serial killers or high numbers of the serial killers are homosexual, when you read about Eddie Gein, who was making himself a woman suit, he had some very disturbed ideas about sex and sexual identity. And Eddie Gein was portrayed in movies like Silence of the Lambs. They used to have movies like Psycho. It's an older horror movie about a person with sexual identity disorder. And he would believe that he was his mother. He would transform into his mother. He would put on a dress and a wig and then attack people who would come stay at the motel that he ran. His motel guests. He would murder them, but not before transforming into his mother. So in the past, they would discuss some of these problems with the gay community, and they would have some movies about that as well. So I first met this agent named Casey Egan in White Plains, New York. He was the older brother of Brendan Egan. So both of these agents, who both act as Prince William, have been recognized in a theater show called The Beekeeper that took place at Keene State College in Keene, New Hampshire. It was a theatrical presentation that was put on by the Monadnock public school system. I think the middle school. And my daughters were in that show. And the Monadnock school system was able to perform The Beekeeper at the nearby Keene State College's theater.
And as we learn about what it is that they need, we're only benefiting ourselves even by helping them thrive. When we pay attention to what they need, the colony thrives and the world actually thrives as a result. Because of Jen Marshall and her extraordinary leadership, NHDI is thriving and our hive is growing. And make no mistake, she is the queen bee.
both Prince William #1, also known as Brendan Egan, and Prince William #10, also known as Casey Egan, were both recognized dressed like women, and they walked up on stage with the rest of the staff that was responsible for putting on this musical, this theatrical presentation. So I do not know what position they had in the musical because they were never identified. But my guess is that they're something like music teachers or theater teachers. So it is a little disturbing to me to learn that men are dressing up like women who are involved in these musicals that the middle school is putting on. For one, if they want to dress in drag to go out and have a social life, people may argue that's their right. But since they are recognized as men with male identities, why would they dress up like women and get involved with children's theatrical presentations? Why wouldn't they just go to work like men? I first recognized Casey Egan working at Honda of Keene. That is located in Swansea, New Hampshire. I had to bring my car in for repairs, and I recognized him to be Casey Egan from White Plains, New York. And I discussed Jeremy Brown, also known as Casey Egan, also known as Darren Labonte, who is an agent, or who was an agent of the CIA, in a documentary series entitled Surviving in a Military-Controlled Region, Part 18. So I would like to refer you to that video for more information concerning Darren Labonte, who is considered something like a war hero or a war veteran who was killed in the Middle East while serving his country, when in fact he's nothing but an actor. He's nothing but an agent who also dresses like a woman, takes on a female personality to approach middle school children who are involved in a theatrical presentation. When I first met him, he used the name Casey Egan. Casey Egan did not really act gay. When he goes to work at Honda, he goes to work as a man. When he acts as Darren Labonte, he acts as a man. So why is he transforming into a woman, putting on a dress, and representing himself as a woman when he is involved in a theatrical presentation for middle school students? So he is not a transsexual. He has not chosen to live as a woman. A female is one of his many personalities. So I feel a little bit uncomfortable with that when he chooses to put on a dress and then go to my daughter's school and represent himself as a woman with a different personality. That suggests multi-personality disorder. And he is taking his mental health issues to middle schools where young children are. Since Casey Egan, also known as Jeremy Brown, a service advisor at the Honda dealership, has also been recognized to be Richard Patrick from the rock group Filter, and Prince William #10 from the British royal family, and the actor Mark Duplass. I have to question, why is he dressing like a woman, taking on the personality of a woman, and then involving himself with middle school students and their theatrical presentations? He should be busy in the music industry. He should be busy in Hollywood. He should be busy running England in his own country. Why is he in New Hampshire, in the United States, using all of these different identities, including a woman, including a deceased CIA agent named Darren Labonte? And the truth is that I believe that he is involved in the MK Ultra program. The Keene, New Hampshire area is an area that has been taken over by the British military media establishment. They take over the local government, the town halls, the police departments, the local corporations, the car dealerships, the local schools, and they act as town selectmen, as mayors, as police officers, as the chief of police, as teachers, as managers of the different car dealerships that are responsible for repairing your car. For example, repairing your brake system so that you are able to stop and not get into an accident. So very wealthy families, like the royal family, is believed to have bought a huge amount of properties in the Keene, New Hampshire area, like in Marlborough, New Hampshire, Fitzwilliam, New Hampshire, Troy, New Hampshire. They buy all of the houses. Many of the houses sit empty unless they want to lease them out. I think they employ leasing companies to maintain the houses that they own that sit empty for most of the year in many of these towns, unless they want to rent the houses out or lease the houses out. Many of them stay empty, and that is the way they prefer it. They are believed to be involved in religious occult rituals, in religious occult crimes concerning murder for entertainment and adrenaline-saturated blood production. And they prefer to do these things in rural areas where they control the whole area, where they control the whole neighborhood. And since they own every house in that neighborhood, if they want that whole neighborhood emptied out, they could very easily do that because they own all the houses in that area. So this is the case in towns like Troy, New Hampshire. It's a very small town. I think they have a Troy Middle School or a Troy Elementary Middle School. And the high school age kids go to the local regional high school in Swansea called Monadnock. So the town of Troy becomes a highly controlled town which can function as an area designed for a cult ritual murder. It becomes a town that's completely controlled by the MK Ultra cult, and they employ all these agents who are professional actors to act as the chief of police, the town mayor, the owner of the hardware store. So it's pretty scary if you're looking to buy a house and the British government, which has declared you a target, says, hey, there's a dream house in Troy that just got foreclosed on. It's a great buy. What an opportunity for you and your family. So you sell your house and you move to Troy, New Hampshire, and you get a job as a manager at the local hardware store. You begin to work for agents of the MK Ultra cult that own the hardware store. You pay your taxes at the town hall that is completely controlled by agents who are professional actors and members of the royal family who control the town hall. And there is not a single real person in the entire area. When you drop your kids off at Troy School, you'll be dropping them off in classrooms that are taught by men dressed up like women who have transformed into a female personality. But just for your child's class, they go into that personality. So you have something like a schizophrenic with multi-personality disorder teaching your son or your daughter at the local Troy school or at the Monadnock Regional High School. When you go into the office and you speak to the principal, that person will also be an agent of the MK Ultra program with multi-personality disorder who is only there because you have moved to that town and have enrolled your children in that school. These people are from the wealthiest families in the world, such as the royal family, and this is what they do with their billions of dollars. This is what they do in a covert takeover of America. This is a covert war against the people of America, and this is how they do it. This is how they attack select families. This is how they do not get any bad press. They never have to declare war against America. This is how their agents will win every battle by attacking one family at a time, choosing to attack certain families for certain reasons. This is government organized crime. This is British government organized crime. The English have taken over the U.S. economy and the U.S. government in the Civil War through bankers like J.P. Morgan and Jacob Schiff. when they needed to borrow money for the United States government, the North, to fight the South. That was when the English first began to take back over our country. They did it through the economy. And then they did it again through monopoly corporations, putting all of the little businesses and little banks out of business. And these large monopoly corporations took over. So that also makes it real easy for them to control everybody who works at Home Depot or Costco or the local McDonald's or Burger King, at the local hotels, because they own all of these giant monopoly corporations. And they will employ whoever they want to at any of those businesses. So it makes it very easy for them to destabilize your life, because there's not any regular people who you could work with, who will treat you fairly. No matter where you apply, you'll be working for these criminals. If you have a problem and you need to contact the town office or the local police, you'll be dealing with nothing but these degenerates who are involved in serial murders and organized crime. If your child has a problem at school, you'll be dealing with nothing but these criminal agents. There will be no regular people in the area unless those regular people are also targets. I think now, in the year 2025, if they want to bring in a target, they will only bring in one family at a time. I used to go door to door, knocking on doors in these different towns in this area, handing out flyers that advertised my book, because I was having trouble selling my book on the internet. So I went door to door with a flyer advertising my book. I had copies of the book on me in case somebody wanted to buy it right then. And I noticed many of the houses in this area are empty. It is like a ghost town in many of these areas in New Hampshire, such as in the Keene, New Hampshire area, and in the Londonderry, New Hampshire area, and in many rural areas around the state of New Hampshire, and in the northern part of Massachusetts. Many of these areas look impoverished. They look economically destroyed. The people who do come to the door, they look very bad. Many of them look possessed. They look like they are on drugs, some sort of drug. They act crazy. Their eyes appear sinister and evil. And so I quickly learned what is happening about this silent takeover of the United States by the British government. And I saw what their agents look like. And I began to learn what they are doing. So I have a playlist on this channel called Satanic Ritual Sacrifice Locations that has a lot of proof and evidence as to what I am saying. And so the last thing I would like to say about Casey Egan is that this agent has undergone a lot of plastic surgery. The videos I have of him were taken in the year 2019. Since then, he has undergone plastic surgery, installing silicone muscle implants all throughout his body, and going through surgeries to increase his height so that he resembles me. I last saw him at the end of 2024, and he was standing with another man outside of a grocery store in Keene, New Hampshire, and I noticed that he was sizing me up when I was walking past, as if to make sure that he was around my same height and build. And after I walked past him and into the parking lot, I glanced over my shoulder, and both of those men had turned around and were staring at me as I carried my groceries to my car. He wanted to make sure that his transformation into John Kelly Harwood Jr. was going well. I think normally he's a pretty thin guy, and he's around 5'6" or 5'7" at the tallest. I think that he was around 5.5 feet tall and maybe 170 pounds. And I am 5'11" and I weigh 210 pounds. So what these agents do is, after turning into their targets, they will impersonate their targets to go after additional members of the target's family. So if the MK Ultra program was able to kill me, they'll have agents such as Casey Egan, also known as Darren Labonte, also known as Jeremy Brown, also known as Prince William, number 10, approach my ex-wife and my 2 daughters while impersonating me, and then he could very easily abduct my children. And this is how they target American families and take over that family's name. They could even have their junior agents transform into and impersonate my daughters and completely take over and act as my entire family. This is what the British military and these aristocrat families are doing in these top secret programs like MK Ultra. This is almost like entertainment to them. Not only do they get to act in politics and the media and in Hollywood movies, they get to go into real life and put on an act in real life. They have schizophrenia and multi-personality disorder, and they live for these practices. In fact, these agents believe that part of what they're doing is good. They think that when they kill somebody like me and then go on to impersonate me, they are doing the world some good by acting as John Kelly Harwood. They enjoy acting or impersonating a human rights activist after killing the real one. These schizophrenics, they really believe that they are doing the public some service by doing that. If you were to ask them, they would say something like, you know why the real guy had to go? Because he's so hard to control. But at least with him gone, they could act like him a little bit on the internet or in movies or in an interview. Even if they do not use his real name, at least the public will experience a little from the guy that we had to take out. So they are doing a little bit of good by killing human rights activists, as long as they impersonate them after killing them and do that in front of cameras to sell a book or to come up with a YouTube channel or to come up with a media platform. What they are doing is just taking over that activist's or that citizen's life. They're taking over their estate. They're killing all these regular people, and then they say that they are doing the world a little bit of good by then impersonating their targets to others. So these people are schizophrenic. They have multi-personality disorder. So when I see these agents with male personalities like Prince William and Jeremy Brown transforming into a woman and adopting a whole new personality, I don't think that this is good at all. I think that this suggests more of somebody who has mental illnesses than somebody who is just struggling with their sexual identity. I no longer think it is cute when I see these movies like Robin Williams in Mrs. Doubtfire. I don't think it is so cute or innocent anymore when I see grown men changing personalities and acting as women. In my opinion, it suggests mental illnesses and the results of mind control programs. This person is identified to be Bill Egan, who is Casey and Brendan Egan's father. This is Prince William, number 10, and Prince William, number 1's father. He is also known as convicted killer Stephen Hayes, also known as transsexual Linda Hayes, or Linda Lee. He is also known as actor Dustin Hoffman #1, also known as Baron Robert Fellows #2, who is a member of the British royal family. In the following video, he is disguised as a female, a Marlborough town office employee. I do not know the name. However, this town office employee is just an identity used by many different agents of the MK Ultra program. Furthermore, a silicone mask is used by any number of agents to act as this Marlborough town office employee. The first person identified was actress Brittany Murphy, also known as Celia Carroll, also known as Nina Sotero #2 from Brookfield, Connecticut. The second is identified as actress Laisla D. Oliveira. And the third is Dustin Hoffman, also known as convicted killer Stephen Hayes #2, also known as his female identity, Linda Lee. So I think that in this video, this was actually Dustin Hoffman impersonating a woman.
Tonight, one of the men convicted in the deadly Cheshire home invasion of 2007 is speaking out about what happened.
West Haven resident Joe Tomaso spoke with Stephen Hayes recently on his podcast called 15 Minutes. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Mark Robbins listened to the podcast and is joining.
How they happened during the attack on the Pettit family. He doesn't deny his part, but he does say he was addicted at the time to crack cocaine and has great remorse about the incident and would like the Pettit family to know that.
Oh, absolutely. I would say I'm sorry. I mean, I am. Addiction's not an excuse. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was suicidal for almost the first 2 years, where they actually had to have a one-on-one observation where they put somebody outside of my cell.
While spending his life behind bars, Hayes has discovered his belief that he is transgender and has begun treatment to change his gender.
There's hormone therapy, that's it. There's other things that I'm looking to get.
So you're getting hormone replacement right now?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I've been on that for a year.
Okay.
Year and a half.
Like his two sons, who act as Prince William, their uncle or father, Baron Robert Fellows, is also a homosexual who at times transforms into a female personality and participates in cross-dressing while involved in the professional workplace. in this case at the Marlborough, New Hampshire town office. As I said, he is also identified to be killer Stephen Hayes #2, who should be considered one of the worst serial killers in the world, along with his crime partner Joshua Komisarjevsky, who has been identified to be a professional actor with many different identities. They are responsible for burning a family to death in Cheshire, Connecticut in the year 2007. For those of you who are not familiar with that case, supposedly the Cheshire home invasion and the murder of a woman and her 2 teenage daughters by burning them to death started on Monday, July 23rd, 2007. The news reported that Stephen Hayes and Joshua Komisarjevsky broke into the Pettit house and hit Mr. Pettit over the head with a bat. They tied him and his family up and then began going through the house looking for money or valuables because the 2 intruders were drug addicts and they had met in a halfway house only a few months before. When little money was found, they did find a checkbook with a balance of $40,000. So when the bank opened that morning, Stephen Hayes drove with Mrs. Pettit to the bank and had her withdraw $15,000, while Joshua Komisarjevsky stayed at the house with her subdued family. Upon returning to the house with $15,000, instead of rushing out to get their much needed drugs, which would have been the normal actions of drug addicts who were so addicted to drugs, they would break into people's houses and abduct them in order to get drug money. Stephen Hayes, who is a homosexual who has transformed into a woman named Linda Lee, he allegedly decides to rape Mrs. Pettit. Then, according to their story, while Stephen Hayes was raping Mrs. Pettit, Mr. Pettit, who had been tied up in the basement, manages to escape and he crawls across the yard toward a neighbor's house who sees him. So after seeing that Mr. Pettit had escaped, the 2 killers, Stephen Hayes and Joshua Komisarjevsky, decide to pour gasoline over Mrs. Pettit and her 2 daughters and then set the house on fire. They then get into her car and peel out of the driveway and run right into a police roadblock and are arrested. So what the British military media establishment is covering up is that the triple homicide caused by burning the victims to death was carried out by the most wealthy men on the planet. Aristocrats who work as politicians, professional actors, and government agents. They are all members of secret societies which have practiced what is known as human sacrifice rituals for thousands of years, which is their most guarded secret. By slowly burning people to death, causing great fear, large amounts of adrenaline flood into their bloodstream, which is later consumed by these cult members as a powerful drug. These malevolent and criminal actions have been practiced by priests and rabbis and these secret societies, these religious cults, since ancient times. The priest and the royal class were the first governments who controlled ancient civilizations, ancient empires, through religious cults and royal families. What many people do not know is that the world's most wealthy people also act as priests and rabbis. It was one group, the clergy and the royalty. Because they are also the most wealthy people on the planet, these priests, rabbis, aristocrats, and royalty became the tycoons and magnates in the United States, who now also work as politicians and celebrities in the media. In the United States, military-controlled regions are under the control of the joint British United States military, which uses radio frequency mind control technology. The majority of the people in an MCR, a military controlled region, are either involved as agents or are citizens that are under the control of the military, utilizing radio frequency technology or other methods, such as poisoning the food shipped into these areas with, for example, large amounts of fluoride. The results are a group of people who are passive, dumbed down, and are very easy to manipulate. For one, they believe everything that's put on the TV. They believe everything on the news. This is the case in towns like Cheshire, Connecticut. The real names of the woman and 2 children who were killed by agents of the MK Ultra program are not known. The last name Pettit is a made-up name, and the photographs of the Pettit family consist of members of actor Dustin Hoffman's family, who are also criminal agents of the MK Ultra program. You know where the van is? You did excellent. That was so good.
My first game was the best one.
Yeah, the team from Milford was the worst. That was a tough team to beat.
No,
So
they were really bad. We just didn't.
whatever you say.
Is Mom coming back?
I don't know. Want to call her?
Can you take this cooler though?
Yep.
Because we have to take the bus back home.
Let's take the bus back home.
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna go out to eat.
Do you want to pick me up at the school? Manano?
Is it okay if I talk to your coach and say that we're gonna take off from here?
Well, Manano.
Well, let me go ahead and give it a shot.
He mainly did it just to scare us. He didn't
Hello.
actually throw it away.
I can take that if you want.
1/4 inch per 8 feet.
Yeah, 1/4 inch per 8.
Good to know. What was that?
I said I can take that to Rachel if you want. It's up to you. Because I live
it's
right
okay.
down the road.
I got it. So I'm
She's
gonna
got
go
my
talk.
other kid.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
What you can do is if you take a chalk line.
Uh huh.
But he mainly did it just to scare us. He didn't
Hello.
actually throw it away.
And hook it up running across all the way.
Giggling about.
And take the level and get it set for your quarter-inch.
Hold up. Don't run off.
For your quarter-inch drop.
Don't run off. Yeah.
I'm gonna run off.
Snap a line.
Uh-huh.
All you gotta do is follow the line.
Very good. Good to know. Thanks a lot.
Hey, not a problem, brother.
All right.
Eighth graders, Tuesday, come at 3 o'clock. Okay. We start our practice, and then Allie and I will figure out.
Yeah, we'll figure
How you doing, Coach?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm Eliza Michaela's dad.
Awesome.
Oh, you do look like Michaela.
Well, thank you. Is it okay if I take them out to eat right now instead of going on the bus?
I have to take the bus. You have to take the bus? Well, don't we have to? We have to have it. Technically, have a paper. It's not to sign.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how are we going to bring your friend out to eat then?
Yeah, because
I guess next time then, all right? So where's the bus going to be?
Yes. What if you just sign something? Can you just sign something?
Okay, great. Thanks.
The form is usually in my bag too, but it's not today. Oh, you shouldn't? But, I mean...
What was that?
Awesome!
Oh, you do look like Michaela.
Well, thank you. Is it okay if I take them out to eat right now instead of going on the bus?
I have to
The two girls, photographed as Haley and Michaela Pettit, are Dustin Hoffman's daughters, Rebecca and Alexandra Hoffman. The names of the real victims in the 2007 Cheshire, Connecticut home invasion are not known. The British government agents employed at the Cheshire, Connecticut Town Hall, the Cheshire, Connecticut Police Department, and the Cheshire, Connecticut school system will all help the MK Ultra program cover all of that up as part of the MK Ultra program's plans. The MK Ultra program targets citizens of the United States by arranging to have their agents, such as Baron Robert Fellows, also known as actor Dustin Hoffman, meet their targets and then start a relationship with them. The real Mrs. Pettit, whatever her name may have been a single woman with two teenage daughters who was offered a job in Cheshire, Connecticut, which was all planned out by the MK Ultra program. Then, at her job, she was introduced to a fellow employee who was Dustin Hoffman, also known as Baron Robert Fellows. He could then ask her out on a date, and then after dating for a little while, he could ask her to move in with him. And it just so happens that he has a nice house in Cheshire, Connecticut. So then the real Mrs. Pettit and her two teenage daughters moved to Cheshire, Connecticut into one of the houses that are owned by the royal family. So then the real Mrs. Pettit and her two teenage daughters is at the mercy of these MK Ultra agents like Baron Robert Fellows. And then the criminal establishment could say that the real Mrs. Pettit and her two daughters had been killed in a motor vehicle accident. They could come up with some lie. But what happens a lot is that they go on to impersonate the people that they have killed and then go after additional members in that family. There will not be a real investigation because the Cheshire, Connecticut Police Department are all agents of the MK Ultra program. High-level agents of the British military who are members of the royal family are all involved in religious occult crimes concerning slowly burning their victims to death in a religious rite. These same people who are involved in these human sacrifice rituals will also act as the Cheshire, Connecticut police chief and whoever the police chief reports to. That is the point to them taking over an entire town or region. Mr. Pettit, who is supposedly the only surviving victim, has been identified as the killer, Stephen Hayes #2, also known as actor Dustin Hoffman, also known as Baron Robert Fellows #2, from the British royal family. He is Princess Diana's brother-in-law, who married her sister, Lady Jane Spencer Fellows. He has also been identified as former CIA Director John Brennan #2 and former CIA Director Leon Panetta #1. In the Cheshire, Connecticut home invasion, men like Baron Robert Fellows #1, also known as actor Richard Macer, and Baron Robert Fellows #2, also known as actor Dustin Hoffman, probably also acted as the chief of police in Cheshire and Cheshire's town officials. If that is the case, then it was men like Stephen Hayes, killer Stephen Hayes, who was in charge of the police in Cheshire, Connecticut. The United States media has also been completely taken over by the British government, which will only print what they are authorized to print. So the coverage of the Cheshire home invasion will be completely scripted and controlled by the British military media establishment using professional actors like Dustin Hoffman. I will explain this in more detail in a follow-up documentary. Quite possibly, the only reason the public heard about the Cheshire, Connecticut home invasion was due to the house catching fire, which was not part of the MK Ultra program's plans. The killer, Stephen Hayes, is reported to have said to the police, I quote, "Things just got out of control." This may have been a reference to the house catching on fire, which was not his plan. He may have been torturing his victims by burning them, and then the house caught fire. When the house caught on fire, Stephen Hayes and Joshua Komazarjevsky quickly ran out of the house. Then, MK Ultra agents like Police Captain Robert Vignola may have seen his fellow agents, Stephen Hayes and Joshua Komazarjevsky, come running out of the burning house that he was paid to monitor or guard, and then all three decided to call the fire department to control the fire, and they did this to save the bodies that they had been torturing. They want to drain those bodies of blood. They do not want them destroyed in a fire. So they may have called the fire department, and then the fire departments from other towns also responded. At that point, multiple fire departments and EMS workers, some from other towns, may have needed to respond. And inside the house, they found the outcome of a brutal murder scene. So the MK Ultra program knew that they could not simply say these people had died in a fire, a regular house fire, if their bodies showed wounds that were not consistent with what would be sustained through a normal house fire. So all of the rest of it is a media fabrication. The bank footage of Mrs. Pettit, Jennifer Pettit, in the bank was developed by the media using MK Ultra agents who are trained as professional actors and who probably participated in those murders. So the Cheshire, Connecticut home invasion is the work of the joint British and United States military's MK Ultra program and the CIA. Agents of the MK Ultra program consider these practices a religious right, which is covered under their right to commit any atrocity that they want to any citizen of the United States who they own like slaves, because England and the aristocrats are secretly at war with America and the American middle class. next is Sally Egan, also known as Pamela Little #1, who is Casey and Brendan Egan's mother. This is Bill Egan's wife, since all three are all transvestites. Bill Egan, also known as Louis LeBlanc #2, also known as Stephen Hayes, also known as Linda Lee, and his two sons are all cross-dressers, are all transvestites. I believe that they are all gay. And Sally Egan, who is his wife, may be a family member. Again, the royal bloodlines all practice incest to keep their family fortunes and their family secrets and practices hidden within certain bloodlines. I first met Sally Egan many years ago in the 1980s in White Plains, New York, when I was around 8 or 9 years old. Again, she is the mother of Casey and Brendan Egan. So one day she was talking to my mother, and she suggested that my mother and I cut through her yard to access a bus stop, a school bus stop, at a more convenient area by cutting through her yard instead of having to walk all the way around the block. My mother thanked her, and the next day, when we went to access that bus stop, Sally Egan came running out of her house and began yelling at my mother and I for walking through her yard. At that time, she appeared psychotic and mentally retarded. Sally Egan, also known as Pamela Little, is also believed to have been produced through incest and has a mild form of microcephaly, which is the abnormal smallness of the head associated with incomplete brain development. You could also notice the blank look in her eyes, which are a turquoise color. This is another trait to look for with agents of the MK Ultra program who are involved in these practices. Even though Sally Egan probably does not have a degree in law, she acted as an attorney in Keene, New Hampshire, who my mother employed to rewrite a trust. I had read her original trust and found many sections which seemed to be fraudulent in that they gave unlimited powers to the trust protector, which was the previous law firm from California, Attorney Nickerson. So I accompanied my mother to these lawyer appointments and observed that Pamela Little said very little, however had answers to the questions that my mother had written out and printed out ahead of time. Pamela Little eventually provided a completely new trust, which was a lot shorter than the one we wanted rewritten. As explained in this report, when taking over areas, agents of the MK Ultra program will masquerade as any occupation, including lawyers and doctors, even if they don't have degrees for these practices. I believe that this is a major practice in war with the British and United States militaries. After attacking an area and killing off significant parts of the civilian population, they will then masquerade as these people for the financial takeover, for the municipal takeover of those countries or areas. And that is part of what the military calls the appointments of new governments. Military agents, military personnel, and soldiers who are employed to attack and kill their targets, wiping out whole areas, are the only people authorized to be in those areas and are then used to act in positions in the newly appointed governments, hospital staff, and whatever is left in those societies. So it helps that many of their agents are trained as professional spokespeople, as professional actors, and are always shown on the TV, reading their lines and playing their parts, These people are like professional schizophrenics. They love transforming into other people and then impersonating them. As part of the methods taught in the MK Ultra program, agents of the MK Ultra program will be connected to a series of targets that they hope to impersonate after killing those targets. The targets will usually be intelligent people who are trained or knowledgeable in certain areas. Agents of the MK Ultra program basically spy on and monitor them for a period of months or years or however long it takes the agents to learn that personality or that position, which they will take over and then mimic and then imitate. This is believed to be the case of whatever attorney Sally Egan is impersonating. A few months after going to the Pamela Little legal firm to rewrite that trust, Pamela Little retired and is no longer practicing law. In October of 2025, while at the Thai Garden restaurant located in Keene, New Hampshire, on my younger daughter's birthday, I observed Pamela Little number 2 enter the restaurant, pick up some takeout food, and then leave. She appeared identical to the Pamela Little that we had met with, only this one was about 20 years younger, and she appeared to be more around my age, which is 50, and less Sally Egan's age, which is between 70 and 80. Both Sally Egan and her double, Pamela Little number 2, are believed to be photographed as Pamela Little in these photographs that I located on the internet. As you can see, it is very difficult to tell them apart. Although there is an age difference of between 20 and 30 years, they are almost impossible to tell apart, and this is necessary for the agents of the MK Ultra program when they act as doubles. Sally Egan is believed to have undergone plastic surgery and therefore appears younger than she really is. She is believed to be between 70 and 80 years old. When agents like Sally Egan, also known as Pamela Little, are connected to you through the MK Ultra program's radio frequency technology, she will act completely insane, if not animalistic. She will make noises. She will grunt. She will growl. She will exhibit severe psychiatric problems. She is most definitely the reason why her son Brendan Egan, also known as Prince William #1, and Casey Egan, also known as Prince William #10, behave in the same way. They are trained by their mother. They are raised by their mother. They are groomed to be just like their mother and their father. When the MK Ultra program uses radio frequency technology to connect Bill Egan, also known as Baron Robert Fellows, to me, he will behave in the same way. Another thing to note is that his breath always reeks like decomposing matter, which is believed to be decomposing flesh. Agents of the MK Ultra program are believed to be severely disturbed people who practice ritual sacrifice and necrophilia. Necrophilia is common in reports about serial killers and is believed to be a mind control program which creates killers who are sexually attracted to murder and death. This creates a caste of people who are essentially in love with death and murder. They're in love with that. This program will get to be more and more common regarding the military and will create a new caste of people who should be considered completely evil. Not only will they consider these murder practices normal. They will be in love with these practices. They will be devoted to them as we love our wives, as we love our children, as we love our country. These agents love murder and death and rotting bodies. That is what you are at odds with these aristocrat inbreds from Europe. I am not exaggerating. This is what you are at war with. So Brendan Egan is a stalker. So my mother found a tour to a place called Fort Scammell. It's off the coast of Portland, Maine, on House Island. And it's an old fort. Brendan Egan was one of the MK Ultra agents that followed me and my family, not only into Portland, Maine, where we took a weekend trip to, but on this ferry that went to House Island to see Fort Scammell. So this individual is one of the people who stalked me through the MK Ultra program. Another person is Carrie Colarusso, also known as Celia Carroll. I believe that she moved into the same neighborhood that I live in Marlborough, New Hampshire. I believe that she is a neighbor of mine. So it's real dangerous with these type of people being in control of the establishment due to the fact that they could advertise this tour to Fort Scammell on the internet. We had to go buy tickets for this tour at a bar. So it's real easy for the government to control the search engine and advertise this, have the tickets available at a bar, and then a family such as mine gets on a small ferry to take this relatively long trip to this isolated island called House Island, where we could then be attacked by agents of the MK Ultra program and then disappear. This is what is in control of our society, of our government, of our economy, of all the corporations, and of the internet. Today is October 31st, 2025, and I would like to better describe what it means when I say that these agents are mildly mentally retarded. Another way to describe them is that they have below average intelligence. That was the way a lot of these agents were described by other people. They said agents of the MK Ultra program or military agents are chosen on the basis that they are below average intelligence because they tend to follow orders more. That is a very polite way of putting that. When it comes down to it, these people have mild mental retardation. But since they are trained as professional actors, what you will see, it will be the same way they behave when you see them in a movie. So yesterday, I called a company to repair some shingles that came off the peak of my roof. There was a lot of wind and it blew the caps that run along the peak of my roof off the roof. So I decided to call a roofing company to see if they could do that quicker than I could do it. I wasn't really excited about getting up on a roof when there wasn't anybody home at my house but me. And the MK Ultra program has been screwing with my balance. So I am not about to get up on my roof when I am a full-on target of the MK Ultra program. So I called a roofing company. So 2 individuals showed up. One is believed to be Casey Egan, also known as CIA agent Darren Labonte. He is one of the men who act as Prince William. He has also been identified as one of the people who act under the name Shia LaBeouf. he has also been identified as one of the people who act under the name Shia LaBeouf. I'm really not sure how you pronounce that. In any regard, that was exactly what he looked like when he showed up as a roofing guy on October the 30th, 2025. So my roof is not that high off the ground. My house is only 1 story high. So they showed up, they knocked on the door, and the guy who knocked on the door introduced himself and introduced Casey Egan. He introduced him as John. And he was standing a little ways away, getting the ladder ready. And he said, "My name is John too. And I'm so bad at remembering names that even though we have the same name, I'll probably still forget your name." And he's smiling. And how he said that suggested that was his line to say. They had planned that out. So I went back into my house, and I heard them up on the roof. And then I heard them talking outside. So I walked back outside, and the roofer who was identified as John was standing in the yard kind of looking at me. So I decided to ask him a few general questions about the roof shingles. And I said I was going to do that myself, but I never put shingles along the peak of a roof. I only put it on the side. So I said, "Do you put these on in the same direction, in the same way that you put the ones on the side of the roof? Or are they opposite when they run along the peak?" So here's a shingle. Here's a picture of a shingle. And you put them in rows on a roof. So when you put the shingles along the peak of the roof, do you put the shingle on in the same direction, or is it opposite? Is it reversed so that it goes in a different direction along the peak? So I think I explained that pretty clearly. And he looked at me like he was slightly disgusted or angered for a second, like I had just asked him the most stupid question in the world. And he says, "They go on the same way. They go on the same direction." And he looked at me like I should feel stupid for asking him that question. So they do not go on in the same direction. They go on in the opposite direction when you put them along the peak of the roof. He was wrong. When I asked him, "Do you put them on in the same direction as you would on the side? Or do they run in the opposite direction when you put them on the peak of the roof?" He didn't really understand what I was saying for a second. And then he looked at me like he was revolted or angered. And then he told me the wrong thing. He said, "No, they all go on." He said, "No, they all go on the same way." And that is incorrect. The ones on the peak of the roof, they go on the opposite way than the ones that go along the side go on. So he did not know that for some reason. And then I said to him, I didn't know if there was a special shingle for the peak of the roof, or if you just used the same ones. And this is how he answered that question. Yeah, no. There used to be, but now they're not. There's a new type of shingle now. They're more boxy. So this person was very difficult to understand. What is no? There used to be, but now there are not. They have a new one now. They are more boxy. You cannot understand these people, these agents of the MK Ultra program. If they are in politics and you have a question for them, you cannot understand these people. If they are in science and you have a question for them, you cannot understand these people. If they are teaching at your school and you have a question for them. You cannot understand these people. This is what happens a lot when you ask these people who have taken over any field. And if you do not understand what they are saying, they are taught to look at you as if they are disgusted or revolted, and that you should just shut up, because obviously you are too dumb to keep up with them. When in reality, they are explaining things in the wrong way. What they are saying makes no sense. Many times they hardly understand what they are even doing. They hardly understand their own field because they've been there for a week or a month, and they are just bullshitting you because they are professional actors and agents of the MK Ultra program who will be a completely different identity, doing a completely different job a week from now. And one of their doubles will replace them at their current job. So if you ever ask these people any questions and you get a weird answer, it's because they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know how to explain things. They barely understand the field that they are in. But many of them will give you a confusing answer that doesn't really explain anything. And they kind of talk in circles. This will be a mark of their people. So then I asked this quote-unquote roofer, hey, do you think I need a new roof soon? And he stated, I don't really know. I didn't take a good look at your roof when I was up there, so I don't really know. He just went up on my roof and spent a half hour repairing the shingles on my roof, looking at the roof, and he has no idea. In his professional opinion, he has no idea the state of my roof. If it is in good shape, in poor shape, he doesn't have any answer for me whatsoever. He just has no idea. He doesn't have the slightest idea about the roof he just worked on for the past half hour or 40 minutes. He doesn't know. So in the Yellow Pages advertisement, it stated free estimates. So do you think these professional employees of a roofing company might be able to look at a roof and give somebody an idea the state of their roof? So he had no idea. You think that you would train your roofing people, whenever they get up on a roof, take a look at the people's roof and say, hey, you might need a new roof in 5 years. The roof looks pretty good. The roof looks kind of poor. So this is a professional actor. This is an agent of the MK Ultra program. If he is comfortable getting on a ladder and going up on roofs, they are often taught that in the fire department. Many of these agents are trained as firefighters. They want all of their MK Ultra agents, all these professional actors, trained as firefighters, EMS, or emergency medical system employees, and police officers. That is very important for them to do that. They especially want their MK Ultra agents that are trained as professional actors, trained as EMS workers, as firefighters, and as police officers. That's very important for people to understand that. If you live in a military-controlled region, if you live in an MCR and you have any problem whatsoever, which they are counting on, they especially want their agents in the fire department, the police department, on the ambulances and at the hospital, along with teaching your kids at the schools. Just because they act in these positions does not mean that they are well trained. It does not mean that they are any good in these positions. They are connecting agents to me that have silicone implants all throughout their legs. And all they do nonstop is attempt to cause accidents. That is what the MK Ultra program does. That is what the military does. They can target the American people and cause all sorts of accidents for them and cause all sorts of problems for them so they can then show up and act as your rescuers or your heroes in the ambulance or as the cops or as the doctor at the hospital, because they love you broken and wounded. They love you disabled, so that these sadistic, mentally retarded people can continue to run things. In the school system, they are not required to even have a degree. My mother taught English, and she had to go to school for many years to get her master's degree in order to teach high school students English. Right before she left, she said that many of the teachers at her school had something called a teacher's certificate. It wasn't an associate's degree. It wasn't a bachelor's degree. And it definitely wasn't a master's degree. It was a certificate that these agents of the MK Ultra program, who are mildly mentally retarded, can get in a few weeks or a month, and then pretend or act like they are real teachers. Another thing that they masquerade as is as repair people. Heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, furnace repair, plumbers, chimney guys. That is why the Freemasons are big on apprentices. That is a big part of their life. If you are not exactly a heating or air conditioning repair person, you could ride along with somebody who is, and you could kind of pick up the job or be trained at that job in a few weeks or a month. It doesn't take long. Anybody who got hired for a position and they tell you that they will train you, that's what that means. You kind of pick it up as you go along under the supervision or the management of somebody who knows that job a little better. These jobs that they are being trained to do, they could pick up in a couple of weeks. These agents are not required to go to school for any length of time to learn any of this. So these agents have done work on my phone lines here, the phone and internet lines. The work that they've done on installing the phone lines and the internet lines, it looks like a bird's nest. It looks like some sort of child has been tampering with the phone lines. I'll show you a video. Here's a video of what they've done here. 2 or 3 people from the phone company and the internet company have all worked on these lines. I had to get all of the hydronic baseboard heaters replaced in my house because they had lead paint on them. And the agent that was sent over to do that work, named Bill Bluen, also known as Chris Williams, also known as Tom Green, it appeared that he barely knew how to solder pipes together. My guess is that he just learned how by acting as an apprentice, and then was sent over here to install the heaters.
It'll be good. Yeah, I mean, how was it before you turned the heat on? Or switched the boiler over?
It
No.
wasn't hot enough.
No. No. Oh, so it never has been hot enough since you've
Right,
been
right.
here. Yeah, no.
And at one point, his butane torch that he was using, his plumber's torch that he was using, it caught on fire through a gas leak. And as soon as I saw it catch on fire, I ran out of the house. And I met Bill Bluen, also known as Chris Williams, who was supposedly a paramedic at Danbury Ambulance in Danbury, Connecticut. I had gotten a job there as a wheelchair car driver. They had an ad in the newspaper that I applied for. They had wheelchair car vans with hydraulic lifts, and I was basically a taxi for people in wheelchairs to get around to their different medical appointments. And at Danbury Ambulance, they also had ambulances that did the same thing. Pick up people on stretchers and transfer them around when they were too sick to even be in a wheelchair. They would be transferred around to the different nursing homes or to different medical appointments when they're too sick to stand up or even sit in a wheelchair. And then we also did a little bit of emergency calls. We were the backup to 911, which was handled by the ambulance company that was connected to Danbury Hospital. They had their office and their ambulances parked at Danbury Hospital. We acted as the backup to them, so we did get a few emergency calls. But for the most part, it was transfers, routine transfers of patients that we handled at Danbury Ambulance. So Chris Williams acted as a paramedic at Danbury Ambulance, and we had a few shifts together, and that was around the year 2000. Then in the year 2024, he is acting as Bill Bluen, a heating, ventilation, and air conditioning guy who was hired by me to install new baseboard heaters in the house. He acted like he had been doing that for about a month. So I want people to start to understand why I am describing these people as being mildly mentally retarded, because they are not going to come off that way. They are trained as professional actors. They go into role. They do everything they can to act as your government, to act as your police, to act as experts in every field that they take over. Like a chameleon, you could take these agents and put them into any position and they could bullshit people. That is what they consider valuable, or their area of expertise. That is what they have learned to do in the MK Ultra program, which is imitate regular people. And it's very important for them to imitate regular people when they are constantly attacking, killing, and replacing regular people. These are not the actions of intelligent people that are trying to sustain a competent society comprised of intelligent people. These people are trying to restructure society, eliminate 90% of the businesses, eliminate 90% of the different fields. They just want to eliminate all regular people in any position of society that gives them a little bit of power, like in the education system. As educated professors or teachers, that would be a thing of the past. People who are trained in art, they want to eliminate all of that. They don't want any regular people to receive any fame or any recognition for any artwork. The same thing with writers. They want to eliminate any regular people from succeeding as writers or journalists. They want to eliminate any regular people from succeeding in science. That's all they do is cut. They cut everything. And they want to eliminate any position of respect. They want to eliminate any position for regular people. That's all they do is infiltrate businesses and put them out of business. They liquidate these businesses. They sell off parts of the different businesses for money. These are not the actions of people that are anywhere near normal or near intelligent. They are basically a cult of religious extremists who are mildly mentally retarded or have very low IQs. When it comes to their ideas on the future for humanity, these people are subhuman. These people are essentially demons. So it's very important for their class of people to imitate regular people and come across looking somewhat normal so that they could fool the rest of you. There is a woman, her name is Diane, and she ran a daycare. Before I moved up here, my ex-wife was working full time. So after school, my two daughters went over to Diane's daycare. So Diane is another agent of the MK Ultra program. She has been identified as one of the women who act as Deborah Winger. She has also been identified as one of the women who act as Princess Diana. And her boyfriend has been identified as Baron Robert Fellows, number 2, also known as actor Dustin Hoffman, also known as Louis LeBlanc, number 2, from the Keene, New Hampshire area, also known as a dozen different identities, including convicted killer Stephen Hayes, number 2, and a victim of Stephen Hayes, William Pettit, Dr. William Pettit. These were the people that ran the daycare that my kids were in. After exposing a little bit about Diane on the internet, I saw her at the YMCA, at the pool, and she had a little baby with her, around a 1-year-old baby, and she was in the smaller pool, and she was walking back and forth in the pool. She was wading through the water, holding a little baby, and she looked like one of the aliens from that old TV show, Alien Nation. Her face had gotten real swollen. Her eyes became pretty big. Her eyes became very wide, and she got this real blank look in her eyes. And her eyes became a turquoise color. So she had these big bulging turquoise colored eyes, and her face almost became swollen, and she looked like a blowfish. These people are shapeshifters. I'm not exaggerating. It's very important for these people to use the MK Ultra program, which uses radio frequency technology that connects them to the people that they imitate. It sets up a communication, a neural communication between agents of the MK Ultra program with their targets, with the people that they imitate. And it is like sharing a nervous system. And they rely on that to learn the personality of their targets, to learn to imitate their targets, their manner of speaking, their facial gestures, their sayings, what they think is funny, what clothes they wear, what food they eat, some of their responses. They rely on that, and slowly they transform into their targets. They become their targets. They begin to resemble their targets. And if these connections were to be cut, these agents begin to regress, and they start looking like mutants. They start looking like alien hybrids. They start looking as exactly what they are, which is something alien. Because after all, they are involved in the alien agenda, which targets regular people, wants to eliminate regular people from all of their positions in society and create a peasant class. These people are part of the aristocrat class. These people are part of the royal class. These people are part of religious cults. So they are part of the clergy caste. If they are not fathers or mothers in their different religions, they are brothers or sisters, like brothers in the Knights Templar level of Freemasonry. That is another cult that they are all a part of, Freemasonry, and all the different Freemasonic offshoots. They want to eliminate the middle class. They want to eliminate regular people from any position of power. Even a school teacher, even a professor at a university is too much power for the regular American. These people want to eliminate all of that. They want to imitate that, transform into that, replace you with their people, and eliminate all regular people. That is their vision for the future, to eliminate the middle class and have nothing but the royal class or the aristocrat class, and everyone else being peasants or welfare recipients living on their land and subject to their laws, which is whatever they want to do that day to you. If you're living in your apartment with your 3 kids, they want to bang on your door one day and say, you have to leave right now. You're being evicted because we don't like the fact that you're opening your window. We gave an ordinance that we want all windows closed, and you opened your window, so we want to evict you. That was the excuse they gave to me in Waterbury, Connecticut, after I rented an apartment from them. They wanted to evict me because I was opening my window to get air in during the winter. I would open one window about 5 or 6 inches wide during the winter. And guess what? Since heat was included in the apartment's rent, they gave me the order I'm not allowed to open a window at the apartment that I rent from them. And since I did that, they want to evict me. That is what happens when these tyrants gain control of America. This is the sort of problems that the Europeans were having with the aristocrat class during the Declaration of American Independence and the Revolutionary War. The aristocrat and royal class are inbred. They're mildly mentally retarded. They are sadistic. And they are bloodthirsty. And they are out of control. And the only thing that they want to do is impoverish everybody and do whatever they want to them. They want to attack you. This is an alien agenda. And when these connections that they depend on are cut between them and the regular people, you will begin to see what His and Her Majesty really look like, what the crown princes really look like, what the Baron really looks like. They look like mutants. They look like alien hybrids. They look like inbreds. They look like frog people. They look like fish people. They look like aliens.
Yeah, I mean, how was it before you turned the heat on? Or
Today?
switched the boiler over?
It
No.
wasn't hot enough.
No. Oh, so it never has been hot enough since you've
Right,
been.
right.
Yeah, no.
Next on the left is a tree, and it looks like somebody has removed the bark. There appears to be sawdust underneath the tree, and then there is this flat area on the trunk of the tree. So it seems that someone has either cut part of the bark of the tree trunk off with either a saw or something like a sander. And then on the left is a blue box, I guess. I really cannot make out what this is. If it's just a piece of garbage or if it's a kid's toy or what. Then on the right is a sign that advertises this property as a Meadow Sweet Farm, and it's number 156. So I looked up Meadow Sweet Farm in Antrim on the internet, and this one did have a website, but the website was very simple and did not have too much information on it that I could see. It says build a free website on tripod, and then they had World Lotto advertised on this build your own free website. And then they have a photograph of 3 individuals, and it says from left to right, Susan, Bob, and Sayi. And then underneath that photograph was a photograph of a young boy, photographed by himself. And then underneath that, it says this is the Bernstein's family's website. We live in Antrim, New Hampshire. Our names are, in order of youngest to oldest, Sayi, Sam, Susan, and Bob. We hope you enjoy our site, as Sam put a lot of work into it. Then it says, P.S. sign our guest book. P.P.S. we are sorry about the difference in the URL and actual site name. So besides that, they did not have too much information on that website. And when I clicked on their photographs, there came a prompt saying I did not have the latest Flash player, so I would need to download it. And they had the prompt for me to download some sort of Flash player, so I did not want to do that. That's how you could get viruses and stuff in your computer. But anyway, here are the photographs that they put on their free website here. They don't say anything about their farm or what they do there. And I zoomed in on these people's faces so that you could get a clearer look. What is kind of unusual is that when you zoom in on the older guy's face, from far away it looks like he is wearing glasses. But when you zoom in on it, it looks like someone has used some sort of photograph editor to kind of smudge away the glasses. So I don't know if those are rimless glasses, and you really cannot make them out when you zoom in on it. But it's kind of odd that from far away they look like glasses, and when you zoom in on it, they look extremely blurred, as if he's not wearing glasses at all around his eyes.
Yeah, we'll figure
How you doing, Coach?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm Eliza Michaela's dad.
Awesome! Oh, you do look like Michaela.
Well, thank you. If I take them out to eat right now instead of going on the bus?
I have to take the bus. No, we're about to. You have to take the bus? Well, don't we have to? We have to have it, technically have a paper. It's not to sign.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how are we going to bring your friend out to eat then?
Yeah, because she's...
I guess next time then, all right? So where's the bus going to be? Next time then, all right? So where's the bus going to be?
Yes. What if you just sign something? Can you just sign something? Can you just sign something? Can you just sign something?
Okay, great. Thanks.
The form is usually in my bag too, but it's not today. Oh, you shouldn't? Clean. But it's not today. Oh, you shouldn't? Clean. But it's not today. Oh, you shouldn't?